Listen, if life is lifing and your dissertation keeps getting pushed to the side, it's like you're trying to make time, you're thinking about it, you're maybe even opening your document. But the writing just isn't happening the way you need it to. If that's you, scholar, please know you are not alone. So many doctoral scholars are trying to balance life and writing all at the same time. Hey, scholar, if you're new here, I'm Dr. Dana, a dissertation writing coach who helps scholars to move from stuck in their dissertation writing into the momentum to actually start writing again so you can finally finish your dissertation. And in this video, I'm going to share 3 simple ways to move your dissertation writing forward, even when life feels like a lot. Let's go. Just recently, in my group coaching program, where I support amazing scholars to move them from a stuck dissertation proposal to a submitted and a defended dissertation proposal, in community, we take time out to share out our just right wins. Because here's the thing, when you are progressing along your dissertation writing journey, I feel like you move so fast that you don't take time to stop and actually think about the progress that you've made. So we start each one of our writing sessions sharing out a just right win. And one of my scholars shared that typically after work is not the best time for her to write. After working long hours, after supporting teachers in high school, by the time she gets back home, she is exhausted. But the win that she wanted to share was that she said, hey, Dr. Dana, surprisingly, what's happening now is even though I'm working long hours, when I come home, I actually feel energized and maybe even a little excited to write. I listened as my scholar beamed with pride, and I asked her this one question. Have you considered that you feel energized, you feel ready even after a long day because you know what to write and you know how to write it? And as she smiled, I could see her contemplating. She leaned into the screen and said, you know what? That is actually true. I have a plan of what to write and how to write. And not only did she say that she knows what to write and how to write, but she's actually looking forward to the writing because she's in a groove and she's experiencing this writing progress. And I looked back at her, smiled, congratulated her, and I said to her, that is momentum. So let's talk a little bit about momentum. The Cambridge Dictionary defines momentum as the quality that keeps an event developing or making progress after it is started. I'll say that again. Making progress after it has started. And a few words and phrases stand out in that definition of momentum. Making progress, and also after this event has started. So when we're thinking about making progress, having that dissertation writing momentum, 2 things need to happen. The first thing is you need to get started. And then the second thing is it is this consistent making progress that builds up your writing momentum. And the writing momentum is what you need to keep going even when life is lifing. I teach my doctoral scholars that momentum works when a few things happen. The first is when you envision. And when you're envisioning, you're asking yourself the question, what's the writing goal that I'm committed to writing toward? Now, here's the thing. We can overwhelm ourselves with a writing goal, especially if your writing goal is really big, especially if your writing goal is over an elongated amount of time. So if you are envisioning that your writing goal is to finish your dissertation proposal by the end of the semester, and it's the beginning of the semester, that's a lot of pressure to put on yourself. So, what I say when you're envisioning that writing goal is let's make it small, not a whole semester out, not even a month out. When we're building momentum, let's envision that writing goal for the next 7 days. It feels attainable, it feels close, and it feels doable. The next way to build momentum is to plan. When you're thinking about your writing goal or you're thinking about your next writing move, the question that you're asking yourself is when am I going to write and where am I going to write? So you have your goal over the next 7 days, and then you begin to think about when can I schedule out dedicated time to write? And not only when will it happen in that calendar time, but where will it happen? It makes you accountable for showing up because you're putting it into your calendar. And it also makes you accountable for showing up at that place. So it's not just when am I going to write, but you're also being thoughtful about where you're actually going to do your writing. Will you write at home? Will you sit in a cafe? Will you go to the library to write? You are making specific plans around your writing time to build that momentum. We have envisioned, we have planned. Now it's time to think about what your writing environment will look like, sound like, and what it can feel like. And here is the question that I want you to consider as you're building your dissertation writing momentum. What routine can I create to make my writing time feel joyful? Now I know that joy isn't always the feeling that comes up when you think about dissertation writing. I get it. But I teach my scholars that you can find joy in this process. You can find joy in this journey, and you can find joy in those moments when you are actually sitting down to write. So, if you're wondering, Dr. Dana, how can I begin to create an environment, a space of joy? One thing that really got me through my dissertation journey is that before I started to write, I would take out my notebook, turn to a clean sheet of paper to actually write this down. And I remember it verbatim. Dear God, I pray that during this writing time, you give me the strength, you give me the courage, you give me the wisdom to be able to get my writing done in my voice and in your strength. Each time that I look down at my tasks, there is a reminder of the power that rests in me to be able to get this writing done for this time. It literally brought me joy. Not only did it bring me joy and shift my mindset, the other thing that it does is that it signals to my brain, hey, it's time to write because I am developing a routine. It brings down my anxiety. It brings down my overwhelm, and I instantly become calmer because my mind and my body is prepared for this space, this joyful space. The other thing that I like to do, and I still do it to this day, is I have my favorite mug that I would bring into my writing space. And there are words around it to describe and reinforce just exactly who I am. I am fearfully and wonderfully made. I am enough. I am strong. I am smart. I am able. I am capable. I am intelligent. And it was just a reminder of who God created me to be. And it created that routine of telling my body it is time to write. And this is a joyful writing space. Before I started writing, I would take the time to find whatever I felt like vibing out to that day. Whether it was my jazz instrumentals, if it was my neo soul lo-fi, to tell my brain and my body, let's go, we are writing. You are safe, and this is a joyful place. So scholar, think about during your writing time how you can bring in those routines to remind your body, to say to your brain that this is a joyful writing space. And the last part, to build dissertation writing momentum, is to celebrate. Much like my scholar and my scholars in our group coaching sessions, we take the first moments of our time together to celebrate. Because oftentimes in the moving of the writing, you forget to stop and celebrate yourself. From day to day, from week to week, from month to month, you've made so much progress, but you haven't taken the time to stop and to celebrate. So the question that I want you to think about is, how will I celebrate my writing win? Now that we've talked about dissertation writing momentum, envisioning, planning, writing, celebrating, I'm going to give you 3 tips to build your writing momentum. The first is to plan weekly. With my dissertation scholars, every Monday for a half hour, we come together and we plan for the upcoming week. What writing goal do you want to accomplish? What are the actionable steps to get your goal accomplished? When will you write and where will you write? So let's go back to goals. I teach my scholars that goals identify what you want to accomplish. I want to accomplish writing a section of my literature review. I want to accomplish writing my problem and my purpose statement. I want to accomplish finishing the researcher positionality portion of my chapter 3 methodology. That's the goal. But when you're thinking about your goal and it being the what you want to accomplish, you also should be thinking about those actionable steps. And the actionable steps tell you how you're going to accomplish that goal. So during our 30-minute planning time, and scholar, during your 30-minute planning time, it's important to think about that goal, the what, and the actionable step, which is the how. So let's break it down a little further. Let's say your goal is to complete a section of your literature review. That's the goal. Not the entire literature review, but just a section of your literature review. That's your what. Your actionable steps tell you the how. So here's how you can do it. These are the actionable steps. 1, I will read and annotate 5 scholarly articles that align with my section of my literature review. That's an actionable step. I'm reading and I'm annotating. It tells me how I'm going to reach my goal. Another actionable step may be based on one of those scholarly articles that I have read and annotated, I'm going to write up a summary about that one article. It's not the what, but it's the how I'm getting to my goal. That's an actionable step. Here's another actionable step. I'm going to take a look at 2 of my articles and think about what are the similarities and the differences between those 2 scholarly articles so that I can begin to talk about in that section the lacuna or the gap in the literature. The goal is to complete a section of my chapter 2 literature review, but what we've just talked about are those actionable steps, how I actually get to that goal. So remember, it is important to plan 30 minutes, your goal, your actionable steps, when you will write and where you will write. The next step to building writing momentum is to focus on the one. Too often, scholar, you find yourself moving from writing chapter 2 to chapter 1 to chapter 3. If you've already passed your proposal defense, you are trying to code data, you are trying to write up chapter 5 at the same time, you're doing too much. And when you're doing too much, that's when the overwhelm sets in. So the second tip is to focus on the one. One chapter, one section, one task at a time. It reduces the overwhelm. And here's the other thing, scholar. Oftentimes you may feel scattered, and feeling scattered comes from trying to do everything in so many different places. You're not focused on one thing. Then here comes the overwhelm that sets in. So if you focus on the one, then your brain has the capacity to do one task at a time. The other thing with focusing on the one is that you're actually able to see the progress that you're making. If you're in chapter 3 and then in chapter 1 and then you move to chapter 2 doing these random tasks, you don't get to see the progress that you're making. But if you focus on the one chapter, the one section, the one task, then you're actually able to see the progress that you're making. Lastly, take time to celebrate, reinforcing to your brain, to your body, that it's safe to write, that writing can be a joyful space, and that you're actually making the progress. You may be thinking, all right, Dr. Dana, I'm sold. I will celebrate my writing progress. But how do I do it? So, some ways that you can celebrate, and my scholars have done themselves, is that you can watch an episode or two of your favorite TV show. If I can get 1 or 2 episodes of Top Chef in to celebrate my writing progress, I'm good. Another one of my scholars celebrates writing success by picking up her favorite book and reading a chapter or 2 of that book. That brings her joy. Another one of my scholars, the way that she chooses to celebrate is having an intimate dinner with her family. Other scholars choose to go outside and take a walk. One of my favorites is to gift myself every week or every 2 weeks my regular manicure and pedicure routine. So I want you to think about, really start to make a list of how you will celebrate your writing progress, because you're building the momentum. And here's a bonus, scholar, to build writing momentum. Stop writing alone. This process can be isolating. This writing process can make you feel like you are all alone. Look for community. Community is so important. And community who gets the struggle, the triumphs, the stress, and the victories of this dissertation writing process. Community is so important. You support each other and you celebrate each other. Scholar, those were your 3 tips and a bonus to building dissertation writing momentum. Now, if this resonated with you, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, because you do not want to miss the just right gems that are coming your way to build your dissertation writing momentum, so you can step in and claim that title, scholar, that you have been working so hard for. And remember, you are not behind. You are building. You got this, scholar.